On the phone, we have former New York Giant pitcher, Baseball Hall of Famer Juan Marichal. How you doing, Mr. Marichal?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I'm right here in Miami, enjoying this beautiful weather.
Kind of similar to the weather in the Dominican Republic growing up.
Well, the weather over there is very warm. Also, it's very very nice. I'm used to the hot climates, and sometime when I visited some city where they have so much snow, sometimes it really bother me sometimes. But I really enjoyed also the cold weather.
We don't get any snow here in Chicago.
Oh my God! Well, this year I read, and I saw it on the news that Chicago was one of the zones where they have a real bad a snowstorm, and I think it's getting better now for the baseball season.
Well, we hope so. How did you get started playing baseball in the Dominican?
Well, since I was a little kid, I love the game of baseball. I grew up watching baseball in my country. Amateur baseball, and a team that used to go around the world and play the championship, and I used to enjoy it so much, and I said to myself, someday I want to be like one of those players that I was watching, and thanks God, I became a baseball player. So I used to tell my mother sometime I missed school because I stopped halfway there to play baseball, and she got upset and said, my son, what are you going to do when you grow up? You needed a good education. I say, well, I want to be I'm going to be a baseball player. At that time, I didn't know that you can make money playing baseball. I just want to be a baseball player to represent my country in World Championship. And lucky enough, I became a baseball player. I came to the United States and played minor leagues, and I ended up at the major league. So I keep the promise that I make to my mother.
I see that you played in the Dominican Air Force baseball team in the Dominican Republic there. Did you ever play?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever play against Cuba?
No, one of my dreams was to go to Cuba and play baseball, because I used to listen to the Winter League, and they used to have a real good Winter League baseball, and they used to bring a lot of American players to Cuba to play over there. So I was wishing that maybe someday I was able to go there and play baseball. And but what happened was when I signed as a professional, they didn't have baseball in Cuba anymore. Since Castro took over, it was no more baseball. So that was one of my dream that never I could I couldn't go there and play a little bit, and but I came to the United States, and I make a career out of baseball, and I'm very happy about it.
Now, I'm old enough to remember watching you pitch, and I remember the high leg kick. But when you started off pitching, you were a sidearm pitcher, and the word is that Bombo Ramos is the one that you styled yourself after as a sidearm delivery.
Yes, sir. You're right on that. I when I was a kid, my brother-in-law took me to see a baseball game in the city, and one of the pitchers on that Sunday doubleheader was Bombo Ramos. When I saw him pitch, I came back to my hometown, and I told my friends, I say, I'm not going to play shortstop anymore. I'm going to be a pitcher like Bombo Ramos. So I started pitching, and I tried to imitate him, as a I didn't know any other way to throw. I thought that the sidearm was the correct way. And then I started to pitch that way, and I pitched 3 years in amateur baseball in Dominican Republic. I went to the Dominican Air Force. I pitched 1 year there. And then I became professional, and I came to Michigan City, Indiana in 58, Springfield, Massachusetts in 59. And before the season was over, Andy Gilbert, my manager, came up to me and said, why do you throw like that? And I didn't know what to say, I said, well, that's how I learn. So he asked me if I ever have any problem with my arm. I say no. So when he asked me that question, I said, well, I better tell this man, the whole truth about the style, about sidearm and all that. So I told him, listen, when I was a kid, I saw this man pitch, and I fell in love with the style, and I thought that was the correct way to throw the ball, and this is how I'm throwing like that. So he asked me if I want to learn how to throw overhand. I asked him, what would be the benefit if I learn? He said, well, you would be much, much better pitcher against left-handed hitters. So right away I said, yes, I want to learn. So he took me to the bullpen with 2 baseballs and a catcher. I started to try, because I never threw overhand before, so I was trying to do it. And it seemed to me impossible to do it without kicking my leg. And that high leg kicking, it started on that day thanks to Andy Gilbert.
Was that tough on your back to kick your leg that high?
I don't think so. I pitched 16 years at the major league level. I had a back problem before. After that. But I don't know. I don't know if that was because my high leg kicking or what. But I last 16 years, and I still love the style, and I think I did, pretty good.
In the minor leagues, were there many Spanish-speaking coaches, managers, players when you were coming up?
Not at that time. I remember in Michigan City, we had 3 Latin player. We have Jose Tartabull that played a little bit in the major league. We have another player from Dominican Republic, Rene Marti, a catcher, and myself. Well, that was only 3. And then from there we went to spring training. We have Manny Mora, we have Matty Lou, and myself, and a few Puerto Rican players. And then from there we went to Tacoma, Washington. We have another 4 or 5 different players from different countries. And, we used to have good time with each other, speaking Spanish because we don't know the language too well. And that was fun, that was fun.
Yeah. Your first game, you threw a 1-hitter.
Yes, sir.
Did you think to yourself, you know what? I could have possibly had a no-hitter if things would have fallen my way.
Well, I was so excited, my first game at the major league level, against the Philadelphia Phillies, and I remember that day. That was July 19, 1960, night game in Candlestick Park, where was real windy and cold, and but at the end, I was so thrilled, that I was able to pitch 1 hitter, and that hit was a player named Clay Dalrymple that hit in the 8 and 1/3, and almost a no hitter. But I was so excited, so happy with the one hitter that my first game at the major league, and everybody was talking about that.
And then your next game, you beat the Pirates and Harvey Haddix.
Yes, sir.
On a 4-hitter. And then the next game, you pitched 10 innings and beat Warren Spahn and the Braves. So you're 3-0 at that point.
Yes, I end up at in 2 months because I come up July 10. I pitched my first game in July 19, and two and a half months I end up with 6-2, and I think that was pretty good for a rookie.
Exactly. I mean, the Giants, you guys had a good team, a great team. You had Willie Mays, you had Willie McCovey.
We have so many great players. You know, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, to me, the best player ever. We have Orlando Cepeda, Felipe Alou. We have Ed Bailey. We have Jim Davenport. Oh, we have a lot of good players on that team.
Did Gaylor Perry ever teach you how to throw the spitball?
No. I say to everybody that asks me about Gaylor Perry, they ask me if he throws spitter. I say, well, I never see him throwing spitter. I don't know what you're talking about. What about Vaseline? I said, that either. I don't see him throwing Vaseline. So after we both retired, I read a book, and Gaylor saying how he used to hide the Vaseline and how he used to throw it. I come up to him. I say, Gaylor, I always say that you never throw that, and now you admit it. I say, now the people going to think that I was lying.
He said he was a better bat corker than he was spitball pitcher.
Yeah, Gaylor was a good friend, good teammate, and we get along real well, and we have good time together.
Well, you really didn't need the spitball. You had 5 pitches: the fastball, the slider, the change, the curve, the screwball. You didn't need a 6th one. Did you have a favorite pitch that you enjoyed throwing the most?
No, I used to identify the pitch that was working good on that and the day I was pitching, and I used to go to that pitch. If that was a fastball, I throw more fastball. Was a slider against right-handed hitter, or maybe the screwball against left-handed hitters. So I never choose just one. I just choose the one that was working on that day.
You won more games than any pitcher in the 60s, but didn't win a Cy Young Award. Was that just because the competition in the National League with the Bob Gibsons and the Sandy Koufaxes were so tough?
Well, so many good pitchers, and remember those days was only one Cy Young for the both leagues. But I don't know. I think I could have won one or maybe more than one, because when you win 25 games twice, you win 26 and low ERA, and I think you should win at least one. But I don't know. Whoever votes to choose the Cy Young, they don't think I deserve a Cy Young. Well, it's okay with me,
In '68, when you went 26-9, you threw 325 and 2/3 innings. Nowadays, if a guy throws 200 innings, it's considered a lot.
Well, but you know what happened in that year in '68? I complete 30 games. I won 26 and all that. But Gibson come up with a 1.12 ERA, and that's why he won the Cy Young that year. And I think he deserved it, because he was to have that ERA. He won. I think he won 22 and 12, something like that. And And I keep asking myself, how can he ever lose that many games without ERA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't too shabby either with that game you pitched against Warren Spahn that time in '63 when you guys went, 16 innings?
16 innings. I threw 227 pitches on that game, and thanks to Willie Mays, he hit a long fly ball to left field and the bleachers for the only runs, and that was one of, I think that was the best game I ever see, and there's a book now came out talking about Warren Spahn and myself on that game, and the title of that book is the greatest game ever pitched, and I think about that game. I think they gave him the right title because that was some kind of game.
Because you both won 16 innings. I mean.
Yes, sir, both.
Now pitchers take 3 games to go 16 innings.
Well, today with all the money the pitchers make, they have to protect those guys. They want to be sure that those guys don't get hurt because they throw too many pitches. But I think that's wrong because the only way you can have a strong arm is by throwing. If you don't throw enough, you can get hurt easy.
I don't remember you ever having a sore arm or anything like that. It seemed like every fourth day you were out there pitching for the Giants.
Well, I was on the mound every 4 days, like you say, that every 4 days of my whole career, I was on the mound with 3-day rest every 4 days, and I pitched 16 years that way. And thanks God, nothing happened to my arm in those years.
When we mentioned the greatest game ever pitched, I mean, you held Hank Aaron 0 for 6, so you had 2 of the greatest players in baseball in that game, in Mays and Aaron.
Well, yes, was a lot of good players, though, and Hank was one of them. When you have to face a hitter like Hank, you have to be lucky to get him 0 for 6 because he was one of the best and one of the best long ball hitter, home run hitter, and that's why he hit over 700. And when you face a guy like him, you have to pray and hope that you make the right pitch and then he hit it right back to somebody.
How challenging was it to pitch in Candlestick Park? Because I can remember one of your teammates, Stu Miller, being blown off the mound by the wind there.
Well, it wasn't easy. You pitch it afternoon game there, and about 1:30 to 2 o'clock, that wind started blowing there, and that was bad. And at the beginning we had the dirt infield, and when the wind stopped blowing, and you get dust in your eyes, I think that was because when you have hitters that can't see too well, it's easy for you to get them out.
How did you only play in one World Series with the Giants when you guys were averaging 90 wins a year?
Beg your pardon? Repeat that question.
How did you only pitch in one World Series when your team was averaging 90 wins a year in the 60s?
I don't know. We have a great team, but for some reason, some other team came out ahead of us, especially the Dodgers, St. Louis, Cincinnati, and in 62, we were the one. We went that year. We had to play a playoff against the Dodgers to become a national championship title, and then we played good series against the Yankees. We played the whole 7-game series, and that was some kind of game that we played each other, against the Yankees in 1962.
Can you still see the ball that McCovey hit?
Oh my God! That was some kind of line drive, If he hit that ball a little bit higher, I think that ball today that ball is still in the air traveling. You know, that he hit us so hard that when Bobby Richardson catch that ball, he went almost down in one knee. You know, because the ball was hit so hard.
If he didn't catch that ball, would have killed him.
I think so. Yes.
Who was the toughest guy you had to pitch to in your career?
Anybody that come to the plate with a bat was tough. But those days, you know, when you talk about tough hitter, you know, you have to think about Billy Williams, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, Ron Santo from the Chicago Cubs. With so many great hitters. Duke Snider from the Dodgers. Tommy Davis, with so many great hitters those days that I can mention 100 players that today they become a superstar.
It helped that you didn't have to face Willie Mays, though.
Well, yeah, lucky enough. I was so lucky that I came to United States to play baseball and to have Willie Mays as a teammate, you know, and a guy playing center field, controlling the game for you. That, you know, you have to be very lucky to end up in a situation like that, you know. Play with Mays, McCovey, Cepeda, the Alou, and Bobby Bonds, and Tom Haller. So many great players. Jimmy Ray Hart, Jim Davenport. So many great ones.
Well, you know, Pete Rose hit you pretty good, but he also spoke extremely highly of your ability as a pitcher too.
Well, I think Pete Rose hit everybody well.
Yeah.
when you're the guy that had the most hits in baseball, you have to be good. You have to hit against everybody, and he was one of the greatest hitters I ever faced.
Everybody asks you about the Johnny Roseboro incident. How hard was it on you?
Very hard. Oh yes, because it happened, and even today, you know, so many years since that happened, I regret what happened, you know, and I tell people how sorry I was because what happened on that day, but it happened, and it's nothing I can do to erase that incident. So, but I'm very sorry of what happened on that day.
Yeah. But he was the instigator. He's the one who started it.
Well, but you know, I think I made a mistake by using the bat, and it showed to a lot of people that I was the bad guy. But you know, sometimes I tell people that I was provoked, and that the whole thing happened because what he did, what he said, and all that thing, you know. But I don't want to talk about that anymore because Johnny passed away, and we become real good friends after what happened. I become real good friend to his widow and daughter, and I wish the people can forget that and not to talk about that anymore.
But while you weren't getting voted into the Hall of Fame in your first few years of eligibility, he spoke up and said that you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was very nice of him. That was very nice. And after that, you know, I end up at the Dodger organization, and I remember that he come up in public and tell the Dodgers fans to forget about that incident, and that I was part of the Dodger family. So that was very, very, very nice of him doing that, and I got a lot of respect for him after what he did.
Did you have a favorite stadium to pitch in?
Beg your pardon?
What was your favorite stadium to pitch in?
Stadium?
Yes.
Well, the Dodger, the Chavez Ravine was one, because every time the Giants got to face the Dodgers in Los Angeles, that place was always packed, and I used to love to pitch in a stadium where you can't find an empty seat, and that was one of them. Maybe Shea Stadium in New York, because it was lots of Dominican people, lots of Latin people there. I used to love to pitch there. I used to love to pitch against the Cincinnati Reds, against the Pirates. I think if you see my records, my win and loss, I think I did much better against good team that so club.
Did you have a favorite manager?
Alvin Dark treated me real well. I remember, I can never forget what he did. After I flew from Dominican Republic to Phoenix, Arizona, I was getting homesick because I left my fiancée in Dominican. So now I want to get married and bring her over here. So I asked Alvin Dark permission to do that, and he agreed, and I never forget that. I went back to Dominican. I got married, bring my wife here, and we were happy, and I forget the whole thing. And I started to pitch, trying to help my team, and with no problem in my mind, my head, and I can never forget what Alvin Dark did for me in 1962. Also, Herman Frank was a good man. I used to love Herman Frank, because if you got any different with him, he come up and tell you whatever he wanted to say right on your face, and I used to love that. Talk to people face to face, and that's why I used to love Herman Frank.
Now, when you brought your wife over, did you tell her that spring training was the honeymoon, or how did that work out?
Well, yes, she know that I was in Phoenix, Arizona, that I was in spring training. So we flew together from Dominican to Phoenix, Arizona, and she seemed to like it. She was very young. She was only 17 years old, and but we get together, and it was such a good decision, that today is 52 years since we got married, and we have a wonderful family. I have 13 grandchildren. I got one great children, and we're a happy family.
Your last manager was another legend, Walter Alston.
Walter Alston, a great man, yes, a great man. I had a lot of respect for that man. I remember him that he signed, I don't know, about 25 or maybe more 1-year contract with the Dodgers, and he was a great manager. Yes.
That's back when Tommy Lasorda was the third base coach.
Tommy Lasorda, a good friend of mine. He came to Dominican. He managed in Dominican 2 teams, Escogido and Licey, and people love him. People love him in Dominican, because we say that he's the Dominican ambassador. to the world. So we really, the whole country love Tom Lasorda.
What does he eat in the Dominican Republic? Does he still eat Italian food down there? Does he eat?
They get a nickname for him. You know, we have a dish that a lot of people like that dish. It's the we call him the stripe. You know, from the cattle.
Yes.
The stripe, and we call him mondongo, and the people call Tom Lasorda La Mondonga in Dominican because he say, I don't know if it's true, but he keeps saying that he ate mondongo every day for 3 months in Dominican Republic. So he must like it very much, and a lot of people like that dish in Dominican. It's one of our main dish in Dominican.
When you finally were voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, what was your induction like in Cooperstown?
So that was very, very excited. You know, I was so excited that I completely forget my speech. You know, I think that was one of the shortest speech ever in Cooperstown, and I forget to mention all and every people that helped me through my career, you know, to in amateur ball, in minor league balls, and at the major league level, was so many people that helped me to become a good pitcher at the major league level, and to develop my talent, you know, to become a major league pitcher, and because I was so excited, you know, when I went to that stage, seeing all these Hall of Famers there, and I feel like a kid, you know, and watching players that they used to be the player that I was so excited just watch them or reading about them, and now I'm part of that stage with so many great ones. I was very excited.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Growing up, two players from United States. One was Duke Snyder, and one was the barber. What's the name?
Sal Magley.
Sal Magley. Maybe because he was a pitcher, and they used to say that he shaved the hitter by throwing to the chin and all that. And I used to like to hear about those stories. And those two, and then Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays, those guys was well known in my country, and I used to follow them.
Are you going to get a statue like the Willie McCovey did and Mays did at Giant Stadium?
It's one of myself there.
Where's your statue at?
At the it's a street there that cross 3rd Street, where they have the souvenir store. That not to the front, because in front they got Willie Mays, and they have one where they call it McCovey Cove, and this one is in the other side of the stadium. A lot of people go there to take a picture of my statue.
What was it about the All-Star game that you did so well? I mean, you had a 0.50 earned run average. You were the MVP, well, you know, in the 65.
I remember those days when we're supposed to play, you know, in the All-Star game against the American League. We used to have a meeting, and the league president used to come to the clubhouse and give us some speech about how the game should be played, how important it was for us to be the American League, and we tried. I think every player tried very hard to become a winner on that game, and those days the National League was taking over the American League. We won so many All-Star games, and all of a sudden the whole thing changed. Then the American League started winning, and you never know. Today is different because you don't know which team going to win.
When the Giants honored you by wearing jerseys that said Gigantes, what does that mean, Gigantes?
Gigantes?
Yes.
Giants.
Oh,
that means giants in Spanish.
Oh, okay. I don't know Spanish, so.
Yeah, Gigantes mean giants. Yeah.
When the Giants sold you to the Red Sox,
yes.
What did that feel like?
Well, playing for so many years and switching from San Francisco to the Red Sox or Boston, lucky enough, the city and the people they were so nice, and Boston is a great city, but it's a complete the whole situation, the whole change. When you go from the team after 15 years, you go to a different team, almost at the end of your career. It's not fun, It's not fun. It's not comfortable.
Did it help having Luis Tiant part of that team?
Yes, Luis Tiant and Orlando Cepeda was there. Diego Segui was there. It was quite a few. I remember another pitcher, Roger Moret. He was there, and we have a great team. And then I got hurt again in '74, and the following year they end up winning.
Did Tiant share any of his Cuban cigars with you?
Oh yeah, Tian. I never smoked, but Tian he loved those big cigars, oh yes, he liked that.
Nowadays, there's a lot of ball players that come from the Dominican Republic, but when you were coming up, I guess Ozzie Virgil Sr. was the first one to make it.
Yes,
and he played for the New York Giants, and then Felipe Alou.
Yes,
and then you. Do you think of yourself?
Julian Javier was there also.
Okay.
And was a player played for the Washington Senator, Rudy Hernandez.
Okay,
but he was in that group,
But most of the ball players were from Cuba or Puerto Rico. Do you look at yourself as something of a pioneer as a Dominican?
Well, actually the pioneer was Ozzie and Felipe, and maybe you can count me in that group because I was maybe the fourth or the fifth, and after that we start getting more players every year back to the major league, and today we have I don't know, maybe 100 players at the major league level, and in minor league we have hundreds of players at the major and the minor league level.
The game has changed since when you and Bob Gibson were pitching, and you guys like to pitch inside. Would you have been able to adapt to the way they make pitchers pitch today without coming inside so much?
Well, the only thing I didn't like about today's game, when you talk about that, is that sometime you might want to come into a player with no intention to hit him or hurt him, and the umpire get in between right away, and they think you throw it to the hitter, and that is wrong, because I think the pitches you have such of a zone where he should be able to throw the pitch, because I can show the hitters a ball inside, and maybe my intention is to get him out with the ball outside. But I want to show him a ball real tight inside, and make him think that I'm going to pitch him in there, and maybe I'm doing the opposite. I want to get him out with the ball outside, and I think the pitcher should have the right to do that. And today, sometimes ball not even close, and the umpire got in between, and if you throw another one, you might be you very soon you can be out of the game, and you can hurt the team, you can hurt the players, and anything can happen.
Do you think the friend of yours, Pedro Martinez, is ever going to make the Hall of Fame?
Well, he got the numbers. He was a great pitcher. He was a great pitcher, and too bad he didn't last too long. But let me tell you, he was one of the best. The year he pitched, he showed the whole baseball world that when he got the ball, he was the boss on the mound.